Nathan finally arrived at the Grandview Hotel. He'd been on a long train ride, looking out at blurry towns and green fields, and his eyelids felt heavy. But even though his body was tired, a little spark of excitement fizzed inside him. This wasn't just any business trip. It felt like the start of something new, a tiny adventure waiting to unfold. The taxi had dropped him off right at the front, and the big, polished doors had swished open silently, welcoming him inside. The lobby of the Grandview was grand indeed. High ceilings stretched above him, decorated with fancy lights that glowed softly. The carpet was thick and plush, muffling the sound of his rolling suitcase. Everything felt quiet, important, and just a little bit magical. He saw big, comfy chairs arranged in little groups, and a tall, sparkling fountain gurgled gently in the middle of the room. A soft, sweet smell, like flowers and old books, hung in the air. Nathan took a deep breath, the scent filling his lungs. He walked over to the front desk, where a kind lady with a bright smile checked him in. She handed him a shiny key card and pointed toward the elevators. "Third floor, Mr. Miller," she said, her voice soft and polite. Nathan thanked her, his mind already drifting to the idea of a soft bed and a long, peaceful sleep. He imagined sinking into the pillows, letting all the day's worries float away. He pulled his suitcase behind him, its wheels making only the faintest whisper on the deep carpet. As he headed toward the row of elevators, he noticed a tall man standing near one of the polished silver doors. The man was holding the elevator door open, his hand pressed against the frame. Nathan wondered if he was waiting for someone, or perhaps just being polite. A flicker of curiosity danced in Nathan's mind. Even in his tired state, the quiet mystery of the hotel felt like a gentle invitation. Nathan's eyes landed on the man by the elevator. He was tall, dressed in dark clothes that looked very smart, and his back was to Nathan. One hand was casually pressed against the polished silver door, keeping it from closing. It was a simple act, but made Nathan pause. Most people just let the doors close and waited for the next one. This man seemed different, as if he knew Nathan was coming, even though they'd never met. As Nathan got closer, the man slowly turned his head. His eyes were a deep, calm brown, and they met Nathan's with a quiet intensity. He didn't smile, but there was no frown either, just a still, thoughtful look. Nathan felt a little shiver run down his back, not from fear, but from a sudden burst of curiosity. It was like a little bell ringing in his mind, telling him this moment was special. This wasn't just some random stranger. There was something about him that drew Nathan in. His name, Nathan would soon learn, was Leo. Leo didn't speak, but he held Nathan's gaze for a moment longer before looking back at the open elevator door. It was a silent invitation. Nathan felt a tiny flutter in his chest. His tired body wanted to just get to his room, but his mind was now wide awake, wondering about this tall, silent man. The quiet hum of the hotel lobby seemed to grow louder, or maybe it was just the sound of his own thoughts buzzing. He walked the last few steps, his suitcase rolling softly behind him. The air around Leo felt a little different, almost like a gentle electric current, making the small hairs on Nathan's arms stand up just a bit. He was close enough now to see the fine lines around Leo's eyes, and the way his dark hair fell perfectly. A strange mix of wonder and a tiny bit of nervousness bubbled inside Nathan. This was certainly an interesting start to his adventure. He took a breath, ready to step into the elevator, and perhaps into something unexpected. Nathan reached the elevator, the cool, polished metal of the doors reflecting the soft lobby lights. He looked at Leo, whose hand was still pressed against the door frame, keeping it wide open. "Thank you," Nathan said, his voice a little softer than he intended, almost a whisper in the quiet space. Leo simply gave a small, almost unnoticeable nod, his deep brown eyes still holding a calm, thoughtful look. With a slight push of his suitcase, Nathan stepped inside the elevator. It was a sleek, modern space, smaller than it looked from the outside. The walls were shiny, like dark mirrors, and the floor was a clean, light gray. As soon as Nathan was fully inside, the softest hum began to fill the air, a gentle, low thrum that vibrated through the floor and up into his feet. It was the sound of the elevator's powerful heart, ready to lift them skyward. Just as Nathan turned to face the control panel, Leo stepped in after him. The doors hissed shut with a soft, final sound, sealing them inside the little metal box. The hum of the machine grew a tiny bit louder, a constant, low murmur that seemed to fill every corner of the small space. It felt like they were in their own little world now, separated from the grand lobby and its gentle sounds. Nathan stood a comfortable distance from Leo, turning to look at the buttons. He could feel Leo's presence, tall and silent, right behind him. The air felt a little thicker, charged with something Nathan couldn't quite name. It wasn't scary, not exactly, but it was definitely different. The quiet hum of the elevator was the only sound, a steady beat beneath the unspoken questions swirling in Nathan's mind. He glanced at the floor numbers, then back at the reflection of Leo in the shiny wall, wondering what would happen next. The elevator doors closed with a soft sigh, and the low hum of the machine became the only sound. Nathan turned to the control panel, ready to press the button for his floor, but he paused. Leo hadn't moved. He just stood there, tall and still, his eyes fixed directly on Nathan. He wasn't looking at the buttons, or at the shiny walls, or even at the floor. He was looking only at Nathan. A strange feeling bloomed in Nathan's chest. It wasn't fear, not really, but more like a tiny electric shock, a tingle that spread through his arms and legs. It was a mix of nerves like being caught, doing something wrong, and a rush of pure, bubbly excitement. The small space of the elevator suddenly felt even smaller, almost as if the walls were leaning in just a little. Every breath Nathan took seemed louder, sharper, in the quiet. He felt the weight of Leo's gaze, calm and steady, like two warm lights shining on him. It wasn't a mean stare or an angry one, but it was deep, as if Leo was trying to read a story written on Nathan's face. Nathan shifted his weight from one foot to the other, a tiny movement in the confined space. He wanted to look away, to break the quiet spell, but he couldn't. His own eyes felt glued to Leo's. The elevator still wasn't moving. It just hummed softly, a gentle vibration under their feet. Nathan's heart thumped a little faster, a quick drumbeat against his ribs. This was new, this feeling of being so completely seen by a stranger. It was a risk, this unspoken moment, but it also felt thrilling, like he was on the edge of something unknown and wonderful. He wondered what Leo was thinking, what he wanted, and a small, daring smile almost touched Nathan's lips. The silence in the elevator stretched out, thick and heavy, like a warm, soft blanket. But this blanket also had tiny sparks in it, making Nathan's skin prickle. Leo's eyes were still on him, unblinking, unmoving. Nathan's heart, which had been beating a little fast before, now thumped even quicker, a steady drum against his ribs. Each beat echoed in the small, shiny space, sounding louder than it should. He could feel Leo's gaze like a real touch, not heavy or rough, but soft and warm, like sunshine on his face. It felt comforting in a strange way, like someone was truly seeing him. Yet at the same time, it was like a tiny spark, a little jolt of electricity that made him feel wide awake and a bit breathless. It was an exciting feeling, like standing on the edge of a cliff and looking down, both thrilling and a little scary. Nathan found himself just looking back, not knowing what else to do. His mouth felt a little dry, and he swallowed, the sound loud in his own ears. The soft hum of the elevator was a constant companion, a low, steady sound beneath the loud thumping of his heart. He wondered if Leo could hear it too. He wondered if Leo felt the same strange energy filling the air between them. The quiet wasn't awkward, not really. It was more like a question, hanging in the air, waiting for an answer. Nathan searched Leo's calm eyes, trying to find a clue, a hint of what he was thinking. But Leo's face was like a smooth, unread book, holding all its secrets close. Nathan felt a smile wanting to bloom on his face, a playful dare. This wasn't just an elevator ride. It was a game of silent glances, a dance of unknown feelings. And for some reason, Nathan was ready to play. As the silence deepened, Nathan's mind raced, trying to figure out Leo. What did he want? Why was he just standing there? watching? Was he a new friend, someone interesting he might talk to later in the hotel? Or was there something else, something a little less friendly, hidden behind those calm, deep eyes? The thought made his tummy do a little flip-flop, a mix of worry and thrilling expectation. The small elevator felt like a stage, and Nathan felt like the only actor under a spotlight. He looked around the shiny walls, seeing his own reflection next to Leo's. Leo's image was still, strong, and his eyes in the reflection seemed to follow Nathan too. It was like a puzzle, and Nathan loved puzzles. This unknown situation made his heart beat a joyful rhythm, not a scared one. He thought about all the stories he'd read, where strangers met in strange ways and adventures began. Was this one of those moments? The idea made him feel warm inside. He wasn't scared of Leo's quiet gaze. Instead, he felt a pull, like a magnet drawing him closer to this mystery. The risk of the unknown, of not knowing what was going to happen next, felt exciting, like unwrapping a present. Nathan wondered if Leo was waiting for him to speak first or to press a button. But something in Leo's silent watch told him to wait, to let the moment unfold. It was a test of patience, a game of quiet understanding. And Nathan, despite his earlier tiredness, felt wide awake, ready for whatever this strange encounter might bring. The anticipation was a delicious feeling, making his fingers tingle with eagerness. He couldn't help but smile a tiny, secret smile. The elevator still wasn't moving. It just hung there, a shiny box filled with a low, constant hum, like a giant sleeping bee. The gentle vibration under Nathan's feet was the only sign of its power, a silent promise of movement that hadn't yet been kept. He glanced at the row of polished buttons, each one lit with a soft glow, waiting to be pressed. His floor, the third, seemed to wink at him, a silent dare. He looked from the buttons to Leo, who remained still, a statue in the small space. Leo's eyes were still on him, like two dark pools holding many secrets. Nathan tried to guess what was behind that calm stare. Was Leo playing a game? Was he waiting for Nathan to make the first move? Or was there something else entirely, something Nathan couldn't even imagine? The mystery made his mind buzz with energy. Nathan let his eyes travel over Leo's face, searching for a tiny hint. He noticed the strong line of his jaw, the slight curve of his lips that wasn't quite a smile. Leo's dark hair was neat, and his clothes were perfectly pressed. He looked like someone who knew exactly what he was doing, even if Nathan didn't. This quiet strength made the unknown feel even more exciting, like a hidden path in a forest. He shifted his gaze back to the floor numbers, then back to Leo again. It was a silent conversation, a back and forth without words. The air between them felt thick with unspoken thoughts and feelings. Nathan felt a sense of daring grow inside him. He could press his floor button, break the spell, and end this strange encounter. But something, a thrilling whisper of risk, told him to wait to see what Leo would do. The hum of the elevator continued, a soft backdrop to their silent dance. Just as Nathan was about to decide whether to break the silence himself, Leo finally moved. A slow, gentle smile spread across his face, lighting up his calm eyes. It wasn't a big, flashy smile, but a soft, warm one that reached his eyes and softened the strong lines of his jaw. The electric tension in the elevator eased a little, like a tight string suddenly letting go. Then Leo spoke. Going up, he asked, his voice a low, smooth sound that was as gentle as the hum of the elevator itself. It was kind, like a warm blanket wrapping around Nathan, chasing away the last bits of his playful nervousness. The question was simple, yet it broke the long, unspoken spell in a way that felt just right. Nathan felt a sigh escape him, one he hadn't known he was holding. The silence had been exciting, but hearing Leo's voice was a relief, like finding the missing piece of a puzzle. The deep, thoughtful look in Leo's eyes now held a hint of quiet amusement, as if he knew all along what Nathan was feeling. "Yes," Nathan replied, his own voice sounding a bit rusty after the long quiet. "Third floor." A genuine smile finally touched Nathan's lips, a mirror of Leo's soft one. The small space of the elevator, which had felt like a stage for a silent play, now felt more like a cozy corner where two people were simply having a quiet chat. The initial rush of the unknown was still there, but it had changed from a thrilling spark to a warm, inviting glow. Nathan felt a sense of ease settle over him, letting go of any lingering worries. This encounter, whatever it was, felt good. A genuine smile spread across Nathan's face, mirroring Leo's own gentle expression. Yes, going up, Nathan confirmed, feeling a surge of bravery. "Third floor, please." Saying his floor number felt like a small act of trust, a step deeper into this unexpected meeting. The risk, the thrill of not knowing, still hummed around them, but now it felt less like a question and more like an exciting game. He looked directly into Leo's eyes, no longer trying to hide his own curiosity. The feeling of being watched was still there, but it was softer now, like a friendly gaze rather than a silent challenge. Nathan felt a lightness in his chest, a sense of adventure that pushed away any lingering shyness. This was much more interesting than just a normal elevator ride. The soft hum of the elevator continued, a steady background to their quiet exchange. Nathan watched as Leo's hand, with long, calm fingers, moved towards the control panel. He wondered which button Leo would press, if he was going to a different floor, or if he would join Nathan on the third. Every small movement, every unspoken thought, felt important in the tiny, shiny box. Nathan's heart still beat a little faster, but it was with a happy, excited rhythm. The unknown had changed from a silent puzzle to a shared secret. He felt a sense of connection, a tiny thread linking him to this tall, quiet stranger. The idea of what might happen next, what new thing he might learn or feel, made the corners of his mouth twitch with a playful smile. The risk was fun, a gentle breeze of excitement blowing through the calm of the elevator. Leo's fingers, long and graceful, moved to the control panel. With a soft click, he pressed the button for the third floor. A small, green light glowed beside the number, a tiny beacon in the shiny wall. Then, with a gentle shudder that went through Nathan's shoes and up his legs, the elevator began to move. The low hum deepened slightly, turning into a smooth, rising song. Nathan felt a sudden rush of excitement, like a hidden adventure was just beginning. It wasn't a grand, loud start, but a quiet, almost secret one. The feeling was like the first page of a thrilling book, or the very first note of a beautiful song. He looked at Leo, whose eyes were still calm, but now held a hint of shared knowing, a silent understanding passing between them. As the elevator glided smoothly upwards, Nathan felt a sense of wonder. The numbers above the door began to tick up, 1, 2, then soon to 3. The confined space, which had felt so charged with unspoken questions, now felt like a cozy bubble moving through the air. The electric feeling of being watched was still there, but it had softened into a warm connection, a silent conversation without words. He watched the floor numbers change, feeling the gentle sway of the elevator. The world outside the metal box, the busy hotel lobby, seemed far away now. It was just Nathan and Leo, moving upwards, carried by the quiet strength of the machine. The anticipation of the unknown had not gone away. Instead, it had transformed into a gentle, hopeful thrill. Nathan smiled to himself. This was exactly the kind of unexpected magic he loved. As the elevator hummed softly, gliding upward, Nathan and Leo shared a quiet moment. It was more than just standing side by side. It was a silent understanding that passed between them, like a secret handshake without touching. Nathan felt Leo's gaze still on him, but it was no longer a question. Instead, it was a calm, friendly presence, making the small space feel warm and safe. The unknown, which had flickered with a tiny edge of worry, now felt completely different. It wasn't scary at all. It was like a thrilling game, full of fun surprises. Nathan felt a sense of playfulness bubble up inside him. This was like a tiny adventure tucked away in the everyday act of riding an elevator. He wondered what else the hotel, or even just this night, might hold. He looked around the shiny walls, seeing their reflections moving together. Leo's reflection was still and strong, a quiet guardian in the mirrored surface. Nathan's own reflection showed a happy, curious face, a little tired but full of life. The soft, rising hum of the elevator was like a gentle song, carrying them upward, closer to whatever came next. The air felt light and easy, filled with a comfortable quiet. Nathan didn't feel the need to speak, and neither did Leo. Their eyes met again for a brief second, and Nathan saw a hint of a smile in Leo's eyes, a shared secret. It was a moment of pure, simple joy, a connection made without a single word. Nathan knew this moment would stay with him, a bright memory of an unexpected meeting. The elevator continued its smooth journey, and Nathan felt ready for anything. With a soft chime, the elevator slowed, then came to a gentle stop. The green light next to the number 3 glowed steadily, and the doors slid open with a quiet whoosh. Nathan's floor. The hallway outside was quiet and softly lit, just like the lobby, but it felt different now, imbued with the lingering magic of his strange elevator ride. He turned to Leo, a hint of a question dancing in his eyes. Will their paths cross again? Will this quiet connection simply end here? Or was it just the beginning of something more? The unknown still sparkled, but now it was tinged with a sweet curiosity, a gentle hope. He didn't want the moment to simply vanish. Leo's calm eyes met Nathan's, and a faint, knowing smile touched his lips. It was a smile that seemed to answer Nathan's unspoken question without words, a promise held in a glance. Nathan felt a warmth spread through him, a feeling that this wasn't goodbye, but merely a pause in their shared, silent story. The soft hum of the elevator was still a low thrum beneath his feet, a reminder of the journey they had just shared. Nathan took a small step towards the open doors, his suitcase rolling quietly beside him. He wanted to say something, a thank you, a goodbye, but the moment felt too full for words. Their connection was in the silence, in the shared glances, in the comfortable mystery. He looked at Leo one last time, a silent farewell and a hopeful wish for more. As Nathan stepped towards the open elevator doors, Leo gave a small, slow nod. It wasn't just a simple movement of his head. It felt like a silent goodbye, a shared secret between them that needed no words. His calm eyes held a hint of warmth, a lingering spark of the connection they had made. Nathan understood. He pulled his suitcase fully out into the softly lit hallway, the wheels making a soft rumble on the thick carpet. The air in the hallway felt different from the air inside the elevator, less charged, but still carrying a faint echo of the magic he had just experienced. He turned back for one last look at Leo. Leo remained in the elevator, a tall, quiet figure framed by the polished metal doors. He didn't wave, he didn't speak, but his presence was a strong, gentle goodbye. As the elevator doors began their slow, silent slide to close, Nathan watched Leo's calm face, etching the memory into his mind. The strange encounter, the silent glances, the electric feeling of being watched. It all felt like a precious treasure he would keep. The doors closed, and the soft hum of the elevator faded, carrying Leo away. Nathan was left alone in the quiet hallway, but he wasn't truly alone. He carried with him the exciting feeling of the unknown, a delightful tingle that had settled deep inside him. It wasn't just the memory of a stranger. It was the memory of a thrilling risk, a tiny adventure that had opened his heart to new possibilities. He smiled, a genuine, happy smile. His long day had ended in the most unexpected and wonderful way. Nathan continued down the quiet hallway, the soft click of his key card unlocking his room door. He stepped inside, but instead of feeling the usual tiredness after a long day, he felt a new sense of wonder. The room was nice, with a big, soft bed and a window looking out at the city lights, but his mind was still back in the elevator. The encounter with Leo had opened his eyes in a surprising way. It wasn't just a simple elevator ride. It was a reminder that exciting things, tiny adventures, could be found in the most ordinary moments. He realized that life was full of little risks and unknown chances, and that was a wonderful thing. The quiet hum of the hotel, the soft glow of the lights, even the smell of fresh linen in his room. Everything seemed to hold a new, gentle magic. He set his suitcase down and walked to the window, looking out. The city twinkled below, a sea of tiny lights. Each light was a home, a story, a person. And somewhere in this big hotel, Leo was probably in his own room, perhaps thinking about their quiet moment too. Nathan smiled. He felt a deep sense of happiness, a warm glow in his chest that was much better than any sleepiness. The idea of the unknown no longer felt like a big, scary question mark. Instead, it was like an open door waiting for him to step through. He had found a little spark of joy and adventure in a simple elevator ride, and that made him excited for all the other small, unexpected moments life had to offer. Nathan felt truly awake, ready for whatever tomorrow might bring, knowing that even the quietest moments could hold the biggest surprises.